around every object in this world. Connections are forming. What kind of world will tomorrow bring? Unfolding the future. Exploring the intelligent world 2030. AI will predict the path of contagious diseases to accurately show how they will spread. AI will enable targeted cancer treatments that minimize damage to healthy cells. Portable devices will make it easier to receive professional medical tests. Technology will make health computable and improve quality of life. Precision farming will build visualized data graphs. Smart vertical farms will create new agricultural models. 3D printing will provide a solution for supplying healthy, sustainable meat. Data-driven food production will enable plentiful, healthy, and green diets. Digital cataloging, off-site storage, and automated delivery will free up space in your home. Intelligent building management will bring your home closer to net zero carbon. Smart homes will be able to adapt and understand what you need. New interactive experiences will give you a personalized living space. Autonomous vehicles will provide a mobile third space. More shared vehicles will mean faster, low-carbon transport. And a smart, green experience will drive you into the future. New digital infrastructure will be the engine of digital cities. Smart government services will give cities a human touch. Intelligent environmental protection will help create more livable cities. New digital infrastructure will make cities more human and livable. Unmanned operations and services will make up for labor shortages. New production models will be personalized and create resilient, intelligent supply chains to help enterprises respond to crisis. New productivity will reshape production models and enhance enterprise resilience. Floating power plants will enable renewable electricity generation. The energy internet will make synergies between generation, grids, load, storage, and consumption, making power supplies more efficient and flexible. Intelligent, green energy will make for a better planet. ICT will enable digital trust. Regulations will redefine digital trust. Technologies and regulations will reshape a trusted digital future. Healthcare, food, living spaces, transportation, cities, enterprises, energy, and digital trust. We believe technology is forging a brighter future. Beyond every object in this world, connections are forming. What kind of world will tomorrow bring? Unfolding the future, exploring the intelligent world 2030. AI will predict the path of contagious diseases to accurately show how they will spread. AI will enable targeted cancer treatments that minimize damage to healthy cells. Portable devices will make it easier to receive professional medical tests. Technology will make health computable and improve quality of life. Precision farming will build visualized data graphs. Smart vertical farms will create new agricultural models. 3D printing will provide a solution for supplying healthy, sustainable meat. Data-driven food production will enable plentiful, healthy, and green diets. Digital cataloging, off-site storage, and automated delivery will free up space in your home. Intelligent building management will bring your home closer to net zero carbon. Smart homes will be able to adapt and understand what you need. New interactive experiences will give you a personalized living space. Autonomous vehicles will provide a mobile third space. More shared vehicles will mean faster, low-carbon transport. And a smart, green experience will drive you into the future. New digital infrastructure will be the engine of digital cities. Smart government services will give cities a human touch. Intelligent environmental protection will help create more livable cities. New digital infrastructure will make cities more human and livable. Unmanned operations and services will make up for labor shortages. New production models will be personalized and create resilient, intelligent supply chains to help enterprises respond to crisis. New productivity will reshape production models and enhance enterprise resilience. Floating power plants will enable renewable electricity generation. The energy internet will make synergies between generation, grids, load, storage, and consumption, making power supplies more efficient and flexible. Intelligent, green energy will make for a better planet. ICT will enable digital trust. Regulations will redefine digital trust. Technologies and regulations will reshape a trusted digital future. Healthcare, food, living spaces, transportation, cities, enterprises, energy, and digital trust. We believe technology is forging a brighter future.
Please take your seats. Our session is about to begin. And now, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome back to the stage our host for this amazing event, Dr. Mohammed Madkour, Vice President of Huawei Carrier Network Marketing and Solutions.
Hello, everybody. Good morning. Good morning. How are we all doing? Welcome back to MBB Forum. I hope you got a chance to enjoy Dubai and its vibrant culture, also the Expo 2020. So yesterday, we heard from different operators. We've heard from Huawei, industry organizations, policymakers about latest and greatest about everything that's related to 5G and mobile industries. But that was not all. You know, of course, we all know that 5G is big, is growing fast, but we also heard that there is a lot to do and to achieve to leverage full potential of 5G. So ladies and gentlemen, 5G is critical, not just because of the commercial aspects of 5G, not just because of the creation of values for carriers, for countries. 5G is critical also because of its social values, especially when it comes to create greener future. 5G creates a greener future, not just because the technology itself is green and low cost, low power consumption, but because it enables other industries to be green. So, and as I said yesterday, 5G spark prosperity in technology, industry, society, and the economy. So, on that note, and that great purpose, I would like to welcome to the stage the man who runs Huawei Carrier Network Business Group. He will let us know how in Huawei we build the networks that guide the world on a green road to a greener future. So let's welcome Huawei's Executive Director of the Board and President of Carrier Network BG. Let's welcome Huawei's Ryan Ding.
Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Welcome to the 12th Mobile Broadband Forum. My topic today is Green 5G Networks for a Low-Carbon Future. By now, the conversation around the 5G network has moved beyond the question of whether to deploy. Instead, the focus is on how we can create a business value from 5G. In countries where 5G is developing faster, operators who have invested heavily in 5G have seen remarkable returns. 5G has become a new engine for operators' revenue and profit growth. Chinese operators, for example, deployed more than 1 million 5G base stations in less than 18 months. They posted a 14% increase in revenue and an 11% increase in EBITDA in the first half of this year. The same thing is also happening in other countries, including South Korea and Kuwait. When the 5G user penetration rate reaches a threshold of 20%, rapid development of 5G will follow. China and South Korea have already crossed this threshold, and both countries are enjoying rapid 5G development. How have these operators achieved growth in 5G user penetration, revenue, and profit? For the operators in Kuwait, we believe there have been three key factors. First, the operator quickly provides continuous coverage nationwide. giving users a consistent experience. Sun and STC have identified high-value regions based on the distribution of high-value users, and then provided continuous coverage in this region. This helps them deliver the best 5G experience and attract high-value users. The operators manage to provide continuous coverage across the country in just 18 months, and users can really feel the step forward to a new generation. That's why Kuwait has ranked among the top in Oculus 5G speed test. Second, the operators have designed flexible service packages. Though the 5G packages are priced higher than 4G, but the user pays less for each gigabit of data, and the operator are getting higher ARPU, so everybody wins. Third, the operator have kept evolving network to deliver a gigabit experience. As the number of connections increase, network traffic continues to grow rapidly. The operators can recoup investment in a short period of time. They can then reinvest into network construction by adding new NR carriers and evolving to standalone. This forms a positive circle of user growth, business returns, and network construction. In Kuwait, the 5G user penetration rate has reached 20%, and over 30% of data traffic is from 5G. In short, operators can realize business value by deploying high-quality 5G networks, accelerating user migration and traffic growth. With high-quality 5G networks, more users will choose wireless connection, and DOU will grow rapidly. We predict that DOU will exceed 600 gigabytes by 2030. If the energy efficiency of existing networks remains unchanged, the energy consumption of wireless networks will increase by more than 10 times. In order to meet the targets of the Paris Agreement and reduce carbon emissions, wireless networks must use 45% less energy by 2030. We need to figure out how to build greener 5G networks with the best performance in both quality and energy efficiency. Huawei incorporates green development into everything we do. We are developing innovative solutions to build low-carbon 5G networks. Our efforts focus on 4 areas: power supply, distribution, use, and management. For power supply, we can add more renewables to power supply mix. We also need to distribute power efficiently to support smooth 5G evolution. To minimize energy use, we need to increase the share of the energy used by communication equipment. We can apply intelligent technology and use bees to manage watts. This will help achieve greater synergy across the entire network. Next, I will talk about each of these 4 areas in greater detail. Advanced power supply and distribution solutions are the basis for building modernized 5G base stations. For power supply, one important strategy is to reduce the use of fossil fuels. Operators can achieve this with solar power facilities. About 65% of the region worldwide are a good fit for deploying solar power facilities. Huawei offers the iSolar solution for all scenarios, including host, cabinet, site, and equipment room. Our goal is to deploy solar panels for more than half of the wireless sites globally. On a small island in Greece, our power supply from the local grid was unstable. A local operator worked with Huawei to deploying the iSolar solution. The solution can provide 23 kilowatt hours of the power for each site every day. That is more than 50% of the total power consumption of the site. For power distribution, Huawei provides an industry-leading high-density power solution. It takes less spaces for each site. Only one cabinet or even just one blade is needed. Power conversion efficiency can reach 98%. In Shenzhen, China, after each site was reduced to one cabinet, operators can save $5,500 in electricity costs per site per year. That means it takes operator only 15 months to recoup their investment. To use power more efficiently, Huawei offers highly integrated, simplified site solution. To build a simplified site, we need to centrally deploy equipment rooms, replace indoor equipment rooms with outdoor cabinets, and replace the outdoor cabinets with pole sites. In an outdoor site, only 60% of the electricity is used by communication equipment. The rest is used by air conditioning and other supporting systems. In places with high fiber coverage, we can deploy BBUs in a centralized location. This means that most of the existing air conditioning and other supporting systems are no longer needed. In a result, site energy efficiency can reach 95%. For rooftop sites, what required an equipment room will now fit into one cabinet. This can increase the site energy efficiency to 90%. For pole sites, Huawei offers the Super Blade solution, which requires no additional space for installation. Its energy efficiency can be as high as 97%. To build a simplified 5G site, all active and passive components must be highly integrated. 5G is much more energy efficient than previous generation. We are delivering great network capacity. This is mainly due to the massive MIMO technology and high bandwidth. We have made breakthroughs in technologies like high efficiency TAs, which can make RF module more integrated. This means these modules will use less power and become easier to deploy. in one Europe country. We have helped operators modernize indoor sites with Huawei's multi-band RF modules. We replaced 5 single-band RF modules with 2 multi-band modules and add more carriers like 1.4 GHz and 2.6 GHz. Live network test shows that the network uses the same power, but the network capacity has increased by 7.5 times. That's an 86 decrease in energy consumption per bit. We have also analyzed different options for massive MIMO in C-band. Suppose our goal is to provide 100 megabps in one specific area. If we use 64T, 64R, we only need to integrate antenna with existing sites and do not need to build any new site. But if we use 32T, 32R, we have to build 25% more new sites. 64T, 64R can also cut network power consumption by 2% and reduce network TCO by 22%. Now, let's take a look at antennas. In the past, whenever a frequency band or a new generation was introduced, a new antenna was needed. Most base stations have limited space for antennas. At a tower site, 2, 3, 4G's antenna are already mounted at the higher position. If we want to add a new 5G massive MIMO to the tower, we can only place it at a lower position. But this would reduce the coverage. To address this challenge, we have introduced Blade AAU Pro to replace legacy sub-3 GHz antennas in China. So 5G antennas can be placed 6 meters higher, according to a live network test. Blade AAU Pro can expand coverage by over 30% compared with other antennas with the same transmit power. In other words, even with a lower transmit power, Blade AAU Pro can reach the same coverage. In Europe, most sites are deployed on a single pole. Usually, new poles are needed to deploy 5G massive MIMO. And it takes 6 to 9 months to get approval. In Switzerland, we have used Blade AAU Pro to accelerate 5G site rollout. Now it takes only 1 month to put a 5G site up and running. Wireless networks need to work in synergy with power supply, distribution, and use. We need to use information flow to manage energy flow. In order to maximize the energy use and save energy at the network level, to make it happen, we can do 3 things. First, we need to intelligently schedule power supply to maximize energy storage. During idle hours, when electricity prices are low, battery can be charged. During peak hours, when electricity prices are high, battery should be used first for power supply. In Zhejiang, China, base station use 17% less power after using this function. This will cut electricity costs by $1,300 per site per year. Second, we need to intelligently manage temperature control for maximum site energy efficiency. We can use algorithm to find out an optimal energy saving solution based on different environment, season, and equipment requirements. Which this solution, one equipment room in Shanghai has used 24% less energy and cuts electricity cost by $3,000 per year. Third, we need network-wide synergy for maximum resource utilization. Huawei's PowerStar can save energy while ensuring best network performance. This solution has been deployed in many countries. For example, in Switzerland, an operator used PowerStar to save more than 4 million kilowatt hours per year. The electricity saved can power a Swiss community with 650 residents. Huawei is working with operators worldwide to build green 5G networks. In Saudi Arabia, for example, we have deployed our low-carbon site solution for local operators. According to the test result, after the solution was deployed, one site saved up to 50% fossil energy. That's equal to a reduction in carbon emissions of more than 50 tons per year per site. If this solution were deployed for all base stations in Saudi Arabia, we estimate that it would reduce carbon emission by 340,000 tons annually. There are many more examples of how we build green 5G network. To date, more than 100 operators worldwide have deployed Huawei's low-carbon solution, reducing carbon emissions by 40 million tons. This is the solution Huawei is proposing for building low-carbon 5G networks. To sum up, we need to add more renewables to power supply mix and distribute power efficiently to support smooth 5G evolution. We also need to maximize the share of energy used by communications equipment. We can also introduce intelligent technologies to manage walls using bees and achieve synergy across the entire network. All of these measures will help build networks with higher performance and lower energy consumption. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Ryan. Indeed, we all need to think, operate, build, and serve green. Just to put green in the middle. Yesterday, we put experience of the user in the middle. All right, so the edge of innovation. Mobile is everything. Limitless intelligent connectivity. Connected impact. Limitless possibility. The mobile element. What do these themes remind us? These themes remind us with MWC. These are previous MWC themes. So, if you ask me, the one I really prefer or I liked is back to business, back together, back to Dubai. No, that's just a joke. It's a back to Barcelona. I like that the most. So, this is all GSMA's MWC. So, first of all, before introducing my next speaker, I would like, on behalf of Huawei, to thank GSMA, not just for MWC. GSMA does much more beyond MWC. I would like to thank them for the wonderful role they are playing in the mobile industry to get to where we are right now. But second, I would also like to thank GSMA for co-hosting MBB Forum with us for so many years. That's been really adding a lot of value for everyone in the industry. All right, so without further ado, let me introduce to you the Director General of GSMA. Let's welcome Mats Grenrud.
So, good morning, everyone. Is everyone doing okay, I hope? It is my extreme pleasure to be here today with all of you, and to be able to see people live again is just so exciting. So thank you for being here with us. And I also would like to thank Huawei for inviting us to this very important forum, Mobile Broadband Forum, which we are so pleased to participate in. Now, today I would like to talk to you about how mobile industry is providing value to me, to business, and to society. We are just about to enter out of the pandemic, and we start again to meet in person as we're doing right now. But we're also having a greater appreciation and greater understanding that the importance of mobile connectivity that it has had on our lives and our livelihoods. Over the last 20 months or so, we have all witnessed how mobile connectivity have been this steady hand to be relied upon, to be trusted, to be used. Now, we should also remember that this industry is a huge industry. We have some 5.2 billion mobile subscribers, 5.2 billion customers, and we have roughly contributing $4.4 trillion or 5.1% of the economy to the global economy in GDP terms. It is indeed a very, very powerful platform. When we convened in Mobile World Congress, MWC, in Barcelona in June of this summer, and we did that under fairly difficult circumstances, we had scores of ministers and heads of regulators coming to join us. And why did they do that? Well, they saw that that was an opportunity to come together and to start to charter the path for digital economic recovery. So it was a really important event. And I think it's fair to say that the resilient mobile connectivity to society, to all segments of the economy, has never, ever been clearer. We have played a central role throughout this pandemic. So, what does the future of mobile hold for the industry? Well, I think the answer is fairly simple. It is all around intelligent connectivity. 5G plays a cornerstone. 5G together with AI, IoT, and big data brings the era of intelligent connectivity, turning on digitalization across all industries. And as with generations before it, the full extent of the transformative value of 5G is now becoming apparent once it's starting to be rolled out. Each technology transition has typically taken 10 years to mature, and then another 30 years or so of steady growth. And we're pretty sure that we will see the same thing when it comes to 5G. Over the next decade, a wave of mobile-led technology unicorns will be born from 5G, as it was from 4G, and that will drive our future economies. Trust my words, it's going to be really exciting the coming 10, 15, 20 years. By the end of 2021, 5G networks will cover roughly a fifth of the world's population. By the end of this year, a fifth of the world's population will be covered with 5G, and will play an increasingly central role in the enterprise sector, which is estimated to generate some $700 billion per year for mobile operators by 2030 and onwards. So enterprise sector is going to play a really important role. Now, critical to achieving these new revenue streams are technological solutions such as Telco Edge Cloud, Gaia X, hubs, private networks, 5G advanced, and of course, ample amount of spectrum in the relevant bands. Timely and affordable spectrum across low, mid, and high frequency bands will be key, because without spectrum for 5G, well, simply, there will be no 5G. In my opinion, and this is my opinion, the mobile industry has three strong leadership fundamentals: challenge, champion, and care. So let's go through those 3 C's. Let's start with challenge. The mobile industry, we continually challenge the present. And today our industry stands firmly for facts, science, trust in technology, for diversity, for inclusion, and for interoperability, scale, and security. Resisting the threat of a technological divide. Now, the second C is that we have always championed the future, forecasting the needs and behaviors of citizens, business, and society everywhere. And inventing and investing continuously up to the point where the pandemic has had little or actually no impact to the 5G rollout. Now, in terms of CapEx, mobile operators are facing an investment requirement of roughly $1.1 trillion between 2020 up to 2025, and roughly 80% of that investment will be towards 5G. Yet, the financial sustainability is an ongoing challenge for the mobile industry and its current conditions. Now, last month, the Broadband Commission published an executive summary of a working group that is addressing the obstacles head-on and gave the following 3 recommendations. Now, firstly, to broaden the base of contributors to invest in connectivity, expanding from the traditional network operators to include other companies to participate and that benefits from this digital economy. Now, that's a pretty important statement. And number 2, reforming USF, or the Universal Service Funds, to be more effective as a financing mechanism. And thirdly, and lastly, that the ICT sector contributions to government, taxes and others, should be earmarked to be spent back into the connectivity or to the mobile industry. Now, these 3 recommendations, I think, is really important to remember. All right, so the third C, care. Well, we know that the mobile industry has always demonstrated that we care for the world. We now know that mobile broadband coverage reduces extreme poverty by 4% after 1 year of coverage, and up to 7% after 2 or more years of coverage. And remember, living on extreme poverty, that is living on less than €1.60 per day. That is not a lot of money. So having a mobile broadband coverage can lift people out of poverty, clearly demonstrated. I think that is quite impressive statistic, to be honest. And in 2016, we were the first industry to commit to the 17 United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, or the 17 SDGs, the little thing I have here on my lapel. And our contribution to these 17 SDGs are currently highest in number 9, which is industry innovation in infrastructure. Well, that's no surprise. Number 4, which is quality education. Also no surprise. And number 3, which is health and well-being. So all 3 are doing very, very well. And the mobile industry is contributing very well. And in 2019, we announced an ambition on behalf of the industry to reach net zero carbon emission by 2050 at the very, very latest. And this year, our industry was recognized by the United Nations Race to Zero as the first breakthrough sector. And that is something we are very, very proud of. And it's important to understand that as an industry, we lift significantly more than we weigh. And I think the previous speaker spoke about that as well. Because the mobile sector emissions, such as constructing, running a network, using my handset, charging my handset, is roughly 0.4% of global total emission. Yet, mobile connectivity enables carbon emission reductions in other industries that are up to 10 times that emission of the mobile industry itself. So we significantly impact other industries in a positive way. It is important that we all, public and private sector players, are part of this facing up to this climate emergency. So let's go back to 5G. Well, 5G rollout have continued, as I say, in a fantastic speed, fantastic pace. And today we have roughly 170 operators in roughly 69 countries that have launched and running 5G networks. And the take-up remains early stage and concentrated to certain regions. And we saw it here. We estimated that 5G will be around 6% of the global customer base by the end of this year, at roughly 400 million subscribers or so. And territories, countries where 5G has been most successful is China, Japan, South Korea, US, parts of Middle East, and parts of Europe as well. Now, if you look at me as a consumer, what do I get from 5G? Well, obviously, I get much higher speed and lower latency. I can now download a movie, a Netflix movie, in seconds, single-digit seconds, that I took a little bit longer on 4G. But beyond that, we see that entertainment, and specifically immersive entertainment, will be quite interesting. Using AR and VR tools will be really interesting, specifically also towards esports, where latency is really, really critical, that we believe will have a phenomenal uptake. In the enterprise sector, 5G is a catalyst for Industry 4.0, including transportation, power and power grids, hospitals, and healthcare settings. So literally all industries will benefit from a proper 5G rollout. And we also forecast that the global IoT volumes will reach roughly 25 billion devices by 2025. Successful 5G leadership is all about priorities. And of course, obtaining enough spectrum is a giant priority. 5G connectivity for enterprise vertical is a priority, and how to use AR and VR to enable new services, as I said. New technology techniques such as virtualized infrastructure, open interface standards, and mix and match vendor solutions are also priorities. So remember the priorities. So our vision at the GSMA is to unlock the full power of connectivity so that people, industry, and society thrive. Mobile industry will continue to do what it does best, namely to invest in robust and resilient infrastructure so the world can evolve and adapt to new settings, innovate so that applications that we can't imagine in 2021 will be driving whole economies in 2025. And foster strong partnerships throughout the ecosystem. The mobile ecosystem is a great enabler across whole economies as we look to the future, our accelerated future that we're building together through intelligent connectivity. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Matt.
Thank you.
Amazing words. To eradicate poverty and to live healthier, happier, safer, these are enough for the mobile industry, I think, if we try to achieve that. Poverty, prosperity, and trying to go green. That's really fundamentally important for our life. All right, so continuing our journey to hear more successful stories, I would like to introduce Sunrise. Sunrise is a European 5G pioneer who were the first to bring 5G to Switzerland. We are happy to be their partners. We're also so proud to do that. As a matter of fact, our partnership inspired us and resulted in some innovations that you may see here in our exhibition hall. So why don't we hear their successful journey and story? And who can tell that story better than their CTO? So I'm delighted to introduce to the stage Sunrise CTO Elmar Grasser.
Hello, good morning. Well, it's so nice to be here in Dubai. It's the first time in my life that I'm here, and it's such an inspiring city. I'm Elmar, I come from Switzerland, and as you can see, we also have nice towers, but I warn you, You should not wear a suit when going to, and there's no escalators and no elevators to go there. So I'm talking about Sunrise and our strategy. We have a very, very simple strategy. We believe that an outstanding network quality is the basis for business success. And consequently now, to be first on 5G is important to maintain the network quality leadership. Now you might say, this is a very banal strategy. It's super simple, but it's very, very difficult to execute. And especially in Europe, if I say this, my colleagues, my CTO colleagues ask me the question, say, Elmar, can you afford this? To have a very good quality network? Will it ever pay back? And to that I have a very clear answer, at least for Sunrise. And then secondly, I'm always asking the question back, more in a European context. My question is, can we afford to lag behind in 5G so much compared to Asia and Middle East? And there my answer is very clear. No, we cannot. We need to speed up. Now to the first point, and I always like to take a longer term view of things, a helicopter perspective. And you see, in 2013, when I started to work for Sunrise, we had, I would say, a terrible network. And we had terrible problems economically as well. It's not really reflected in these benchmark numbers, but you can see that we have then worked consequently year after year to invest in the network, to invest in the network quality. And if you see now a slight trend going down, this is not real. It's just because the benchmark testing every year raise the bar, and therefore it looks like there is a trend going down. In reality, you know, we have improved the network quality in Switzerland tremendously. And not just us, also our competitors. As you can see, we won quite a few benchmark tests, and we were also nominated as the innovation leader of 5G in the German-speaking regions, Switzerland, Austria, and Germany. And coincidentally, you see this yellow line. This is coincidentally the stock price development. So there is a correlation. I would like to show you also why. So I was talking about benchmark tests. Now I'm coming to the customer view. I'm very interested in, even more important than a benchmark, it's important is what does the customer say about your network, and how can you understand what your customer says about the network. And one important number is the so-called, we call it a propensity to call. So how often does the customer call in because of network problems? Unfortunately, I have that trend only since 2016. And you would see, if you would go back to 2013, it was even much, much higher. So if you have a bad network, people are calling you all the time. And the poor guy in customer service cannot really solve the problem, right? So I would even say to have a bad network is very expensive. So as you can see, we had a very nice trend. We are now at 0.6% of propensity to call about network problems. And I think that is quite a good number also in an international comparison. Now here is another view in terms of network quality and how it developed. We started, or I started in Sunrise when we had a net promoter score of -50. So the network perception was really, really bad. And we did have economical problems, as I mentioned. And then every year, as you can see on these lines, we were improving every year consistently. we had a better network perception. And I always tell my people, engineering people, perception is reality. The customer makes his decisions based on the perception, so we need to work on the perception. So the Net Promoter Score is one of the most important KPIs for my team. Now you will ask me, what does this have to do with 5G? Well, now we introduced 5G, and I would say we have, as you can see, we have a challenge. Since we have introduced 5G, the perception did not continue to go up. But one of the main reasons is that we invested mainly in 5G, but the majority of the customers are still on 4G. That is certainly a problem. So it's not easy to be 100% in sync. And Switzerland is very much an iPhone country. So we had a bit of a delay in terms of customers coming on board, because as we all know, the iPhone 5G came a bit later. And now it's trending up really well. So we're going in the right direction. But to come back to the question whether the investment into network quality, whether it pays out, and whether it pays out in a competitive market also like Switzerland, you can here see very clear numbers. So since we went onto the stock market, our postpaid, in 2015 we went to the stock market in Switzerland, and our postpaid number of customers increased by 50% since then. We had 59% more customers on our fixed network, 162% more on TV, and our dividend growth was 47% over those years. So basically we gave the shareholder a return of 90%, because we went to the stock market at 68 and we sold it at 110. We were taken over by Liberty Global, and as you can see, at least this story really worked out, and we consistently believe that this strategy to have a very good network is consistent and pays back, and therefore we implemented the 5G first strategy. We have rolled out C-band to about 50% of our sites. We wanted to do much more, but Europe is a difficult country in terms of 5G. There is a lot of skepticism in the population, and the politics are very hesitating to give us permissions to roll out 5G. I wanted to roll out, and I got the money from the shareholders to roll out 5G in a much bigger extent, but we just couldn't do it because of the regulation. I mean, this is really a problem. This is a European problem. I mean, in many countries, we cannot afford to roll it out. In those countries where we can afford it, the regulator makes it very, very difficult to do the rollout. I mean, this is, from my point of view, really a dangerous situation, because, as we all said, 5G is not only important for ourselves. 5G is important for our society. We are enablers for many other industries and for the innovation of a country, and if we're lagging behind, we're going to have a problem. So I don't want to bother you too much about this. We have seen good benchmark results. At the end, what is counting is the perception at the customer end, and there, as I mentioned and I showed you before, we still need to work on a lot, but we have really a good 5G network already. As I mentioned, 50% of the physical sites are on C-band. We decided to do also a 900 megahertz rollout, very untypical, but we have a bit of a problem with 2100. That created quite a few challenges in the rollout and in the cooperation with the handsets, because we're not many that are using 900 as the second band for 5G. But I strongly believe that C-band is so important to be rolled out. Now here on On the right-hand side, you see that we have been rated also by OpenSignal in 8 out of 9 areas. We have been in the top 10. And that is also significant, what I'm saying. For us, it's not so important to be in the quality perception, to be good in one area, have one base station that beats any records. It's more important to have a very, very good network all over the country. And to avoid bad experience, that is much more important than to have a world record site on 1 or 2 places. And that we have consistently rolled out in the countries. Now, this is a very challenging slide. It's a very long-term view of how the network development looked like since 2005. As I mentioned, I like to have the helicopter perspective. And you can see how the traffic grew since the introduction of 4G. And I'm sure your networks look, your trends looks very, very similar. And you can see that when we introduced 4G, basically the growth of data was all in 4G. And we see that trend now also in 5G. If you see now, it looks like we're having a break in data acceleration, which is not true. This is just vacation time in Switzerland now, where we take a break. And now the traffic is going to grow again. We are now at 10%. I have seen you guys here are already at 20%, in China up to 30%. And I think with the 10% in Europe, we are kind of most probably at the absolutely leading side. But we're growing in 5G traffic now 0.5% every week. So by the end of the year, we will be much more significantly higher on 5G. And as I mentioned, a 5G customer is a much more happy customer than a 4G customer. And to produce a gigabyte in 5G is much more efficient than in 4G. So we believe we have the right strategy. Combined, Sunrise and UPC, we use FTTH, we use HFC network, and we use 5G fixed wireless access in Switzerland. So we have a very good combination, while we can offer 1 gigabit almost to the whole of Switzerland, which is a very nice experience, and not many of our competitors cannot cope or let's say compete with this. We have not only a very good 5G network, but we have also a very good fixed network strategy combined with 5G wireless access, with an outdoor antenna in most of the cases, because in Switzerland, indoor penetration combined with the electromagnetic emission is really a challenge. So we continue to have one of the best networks in Switzerland, I hope. With the better experience, we attract more customers, and we have more converged users over time, which is guaranteeing our business success. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Elmer. So our next speaker, we're going to be back to the local market here again, and another 5G pioneer, Du, UAE. So our next speaker is very opinionated about building the network and also monetizing it. As a matter of fact, I was with him last year in a panel in GITEX, and he precisely mentioned, and I'm quoting, power consumption efficiency is one of our major targets. So that's what he said. But why don't we hear from him firsthand? So it's my pleasure to welcome to the stage Du CTO Salim Al-Balushi.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. First of all, actually, I would like to thank Huawei for bringing us back together in this venue, discussing our challenges, our innovation and the activities, whatever coming in front of us. As well, I'd like to take this opportunity, since we are the operators during the pandemic. We were, as collectively actually, we were the hero to manage the connectivity and connect our communities during the lockdown. And this did not happen just as a reactive of a situation. It was a work of long time, thanks to the international organizations that brought us together, thanks to our partners, thanks to the research centers, thanks to the operator who invested continuously in a network that is scalable, that has the capabilities to meet the requirements when and as required. During the pandemic, we have seen people shifting, the demographic shifting from areas to areas, the demand shifted from mobile to fixed. But again, thanks to the capabilities of our engineers who were on site, on the ground, upgrading networks in no time. In UAE, we managed to expand our fixed network 2 times, and some communities more than double in our fiber infrastructure. And even in our mobile network in specific areas where the requirement was to expand, to roll fiber, increase our capacity in some rural area. So people were on the ground, and whatever I'm saying, not only in the UAE, of course, all the countries has gone through this, and we managed to go out of the situation successfully, and we were the key of that key success factor. Actually, we have drove the key success factor. Connectivity was main drivers for our people to do their education, to do their business, to socially connect. So all these, again, thanks to the connectivity. However, in the UAE, we have not succeeded only in the connectivity, thanks to the visionary leadership of the country, who started smart initiatives, smart city initiative, smart government initiative, smart education initiatives since early 2000. So it was a matter of opening books and execution. So connectivity was one success factor. However, the ecosystem, the use cases of education, having our students work, managing the use cases of education, of healthcare, of online trading, socially connecting, all these use cases, doing the transaction with the government, renewing or paying your fees, all these things were seamless in the UAE, thanks to the visionary leadership of the country. From telecom perspective, we need to continue dreaming. The challenge, if we stop dreaming and we continue selling bits, bytes, minutes, and by the way, we used to sell something called messages, and we lost that game, and we lose more territory if we don't innovate and dream. So from dreaming perspective, from our strategic directions, as a technologist, we are the way we are seeing market evolution, network as a service or telecom as a service from platform perspective, from API enablement and allocation of resources through a marketplace, that is the direction. Today, we are stuck as operators. We know how to innovate, how to drive value by selling bits, bytes, minutes. And we are stuck, truly stuck. We cannot go beyond that. If I think the market requires reform, we need to think differently in that line and see how we can drive value from end-to-end perspective by innovating and building infrastructures for people who understand their business better than us. So positioning ourselves differently, continuing the innovation in telecom. 5G is an important part. 5G NSA is rolled out. 5G SA is coming. We are at the rollout stage of 5G SA, upgrading the infrastructure, mobile edge computing, data center capabilities, and the deployment of data center fiberization. So all these know-how, all these capabilities and characteristics we are building, there are many use cases and opportunities to grow and uplift all the industries and sectors in the market. And the challenge today, as yesterday in the discussion, I think the GCMA representative there highlighted, we don't speak the same language. And the challenge when we sit, things get disconnected. The best approach from my view, that we need to enable them, provide them with infrastructure, and they know their business. Healthcare, they know their business. They know how to drive their ecosystem. Education, they know their business. So we act as enabler and to drive value. So from that, the direction from our perspective, network as a service, network as an API, not only network and IT capabilities, of course, from BSS perspective, the fulfillment process, the managing the transaction from end to end. So this is the plan and this is the vision. From strategic direction for our company, we are focusing in multiple fronts. So the fixed growth, mobile retention, strengthening our mobile in a specific segment, in the premium segment in the UAE, increasing, of course, our ICT and beyond core revenue and growth. So for all those 4 pillars, 5G is key enablers and contribute to each of them. In fixed, we have recently launched our fixed wireless product, very successful product in the market. To understand the dynamics of in this country, we are the challenger. We have almost 20% of the fiber footprint in the country. So the 5G is a tool, is an instrument to grow our fixed business. So we have rolled out our 5G network. We are today at 90% of the population coverage. We are, again, the fastest in 5G from different benchmark tools in the country. We are more than 400 megabit per second throughput. So for all those things, 5G is enabler in our fixed business. 5G is enabler to retain our mobile customer, of course, the capabilities, the features, the capacity, even from cost perspective. So all those things for normal growth of our business, for the core growth of our business, 5G will continue, again, to drive value, offloading the 4G and traffic shifting. Today, we have almost 5% of our traffic in 5G network. Again, targeting premium segment, of course, is a differentiator, and the use cases, which is the primary platform and primary revenue generation infrastructure and business segment for 5G monetization. And that is the area which we need collectively, again, we need to put our brains together and see how we can drive value, specifically for beyond core use cases. So the 3 important network platforms or layers in the network, which is the 5G connectivity, mobile edge computing and computing in general, the capabilities of computing and data processing, and the AI capabilities and algorithm. So these three capabilities adds value, again, limitless value to our customers, to the use cases, to the capabilities our customers are expecting. So from that, the implementation and the rollout of 5G with the fiber connectivities, with the capabilities in the mobile edge computing and upgrading our edge of whatever is the definition of the edge, of course, upgrading the edge to cope with the requirement of the computing, building computing in that area, and the data centers and the core computing capabilities. 5G is a journey. We started the journey of 5G today, as I said, we are 90% population coverage. We have almost 5% of our traffic is in the 5G network, but that was journey we started 2015. On 2015, I had only 15% of my mobile sites connected through fiber. And it was okay at that time. But then when we have seen the 5G rollout, the expectation of 5G, that 100 megabit per second average throughput per customer, the promises, the uplinks. So we initiated the program. Today, we have almost 80% of our mobile sites are connected through fiber. And we are continuing our journey from fiberization. And the network function virtualization and cloudification definitely was, again, an important strategic driver to upgrade and scale our network faster. So to upgrade from a version to a version, or for an additional feature, it's a matter of downloading license, software, and interoperability testing. Then things are monetized. So we started 5G with 5G fixed wireless access, 5G fixed wireless access, and mobile broadband. And we are growing our fixed wireless access footprint and the base as we are progressing and working with different entities for 5G use cases. So journey started, we launched 5G in 2019. Today, as I highlighted again, we are at 90% of the population footprint. Next year, we are planning to increase our indoor footprint based on market requirements. And the journey, we have collaborated with different stakeholders. From early stages, actually, we opened our 5G lab, invited universities to work with us in innovation, and different entities as well participated in different aspects and use cases during the use case trials and tests. And we continue the journey. We have some partnership discussions, engagement with utility companies, with road and traffic authorities, with the AI minister, with different entities, how we can add value to them with the capabilities that has been built nationwide. This is the footprint of 5G network. These are the major seven emirates in the country. The 7 emirates in the country, the population coverage. And we are, as I highlighted, we are covering the 90% of the population with the throughput of 400 megabit average speed. And thanks to the regulator, because the spectrum is key enabler, and the regulator has empowered the operators with the spectrum 200 gig in band C, and in band in 2.6 we have 100 megahertz capacity. Again, the regulator was the enabler actually. For 5G rollouts, they allocated the spectrum of 5G for the first 2 years free of cost. So that was an incentive for the operator to invest and drive value. And today we are celebrating 90% because they removed barriers from investment perspective. So this added value, again, to the community at large, uplifting the infrastructure in this country to a better leadership position. Again, use cases from our perspective, selling bits, bytes, minutes, that is, I think, game over. We know how to do this. And that is business as usual. This is our comfort zone. As CTOs, we don't need to do a lot of effort there. But we are working with our partners, with the ecosystem, how we can drive use cases to different sectors. We capture some use cases, map to different sectors. However, again, the challenge, if we sit standalone in the rooms as telecom ecosystem and trying to think in behalf of other sectors, we'll go nowhere. And again, we start speaking our language and they speak different language. And I expect they are sitting in their rooms as well discussing how they will build their 5G network, how will build their fiber network, which is, again, yet things are not in the perspective from end-to-end framework. So we have choices. Of course, we have choices to make. Either we position ourselves as dumb pipe provider and only the connectivity, or we go up in value chain. And the strategic direction, of course, better positioning. We know our market. We know at least connectivity business. We have control, connectivity and computing and data scientific. We are engineers. We understand how to manage data, how to process data, how to present data. But what is the data? What is the requirements from those things? We don't know. And the end users and the verticals, business vertical, they know better their use cases. So that, of course, the direction should be we go up in the value chain, connectivity, cloud, and up to the level of application, providing the APIs to the verticals who download, plug and play, and build their infrastructure, and monetize that infrastructure based on what they know, how they want to drive it. So again, in the UAE, again, we are sitting with the support with different stakeholders. We sit with the government entities, with business sector as well, trying to think, trying to drive value. But yet we have not cracked how we collaborate, how we will work, what is the positioning of the operators, of the vertical, the driver from vertical perspective. And it is work in progress, and I expect similarly in all the industries. So I think we need to work as collectively, as industry, we need to think more how we can work together to create value to them without destroying, and value to us, of course, without destroying value to our sector at large. So again, the initiatives, we have signed an MOU with the DIWA in Dubai to build their private network. We have started the pilot for 5G SA with DIWA, and we are progressing on those activities until we understand again the value creation from end-to-end system and capabilities perspective. So I think I have two videos to be played. I think I need help. This is coming. No sound. So again, thank you very much. Hope to see you during the breaks as well. Thank you.
Shukran, Salim. Thank you so much for your presentation. After here getting to know some successful story from the local market, let's go back again and globally, because our next speaker is from Orange, which has operation in many countries. So he will let us know Orange strategy in building or accelerating building the optimum experience and fast network, and at the same time keeping green in mind. So with that, let's welcome the Senior Vice President of Radio Network at Orange, Arnaud Van Parijs.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's a great pleasure to be with you today to share Orange vision on 5G. Before starting, let's see how children are using 5G in a famous museum.
People buy views, I know it's old news, but also bad news for everybody. People buy views, I know it's old news, but I got bad news for everybody. People buy views, but I don't buy views. Don't turn on my views and watch your back.
And watch your back, I'll break your neck, I'll pop again, a viral lack and paint you black, your name in black, the list and keeping overpacked. The others keep their numbers fake and cut the ring. So every day I'm low until I blow. Big in hell, I call me Dash Snow. Honey, let the puppets run the show. Underrated calling me to know. Underlay my beat, we have to go. See you later, underrated, still it's me, LMAO. At the gate of Eden Garden, I'll be on the speedy button. Tiny trolley with my slate in me, you gotta chime in. No, they don't know what to keep in store. When I'll be counting big cash, they be on the score. They don't know what to keep in store. Buy fools, buy views, touch wood, no, I don't pop with that. I don't pop with that.
The most innovative thing about 5G is what we'll do with it. Orange.
As you have seen, 5G is what you will do with it. Because in Orange, we want to promote digital equality in increasing population connectivity. We are the European leader on fiber in Europe, with more than 52 million households connectable to fiber. We have opened 5G in 6 countries, and we are now preparing 5G for Africa and Middle East. Of course, we want this deployment to achieve our green targets for 2025, because we are heading toward carbon neutrality in 2040. First, we need our networks to be efficient and to control the energy consumption's growth on our mobile networks. Let's share that in a video.
5G, a network designed for improved energy efficiency. Our aim is to make the 5G network 10 times more energy efficient than 4G by 2025. To achieve this, Orange and its ecosystem is drawing on 6 drivers of innovation. These drivers are complementary, and their energy benefits will increase as equipment is rolled out and upgraded. One initial driver is the network gradual scaling up. For the same additional consumption, 5G can accommodate more users with greater ease of use than if the 4G network were to be enhanced. Since the network was launched, 5G has consumed half as much energy per gigabyte carried as 4G. Even with a small number of users, it will be even more efficient in the future. Another driver will be the ability to take advantage of future technological progress in power amplifiers. New antennas only activate on demand and serve several users at the same time. Their highly integrated design will also help to optimize energy efficiency. In addition, these antennas will benefit from improved integrated circuits, the well-known Moore's law. These ever more powerful circuits will offer better signal processing with less energy consumption. 5G antennas are also designed to save energy when there is no traffic. Orange has made it possible to put them into deep standby mode. This accounts for 20% of the energy currently saved and is set to rise to 50% in the future. Finally, operators will be able to pool some or all of their infrastructure, thereby reducing their environmental footprint. Our usage has changed, and with each new generation, networks are becoming more energy efficient, resulting in lower CO2 emissions.
Orange.
As you have seen, we are activating many levers to control the energy consumption on our mobile network. But as well, we want 30% less greenhouse gas emission in 2025 compared to 2015. We want as well to have 50% of our group's energy mix from renewable source by 2025. All that is to do a useful 5G for our customers, for our enterprise customer, because 5G is a major competitor level, enabling them to make a success of a shift to Industry 4.0 for the factory and for the connected city. 5G is a key element inside the economic recovery plan in Europe, as well ecological transition. For the general public as well, 5G can absorb the huge growth of mobile data we have on our mobile networks, can create a real-time experience and adapt the network to different types of objects, to different types of services. All that together, we want to stay #1 quality on mobile networks like we have been on 4G. That's why we are rolling out right now 5G extensively in Europe for mobile broadband. First on 5G NSA, then moving soon to 5G SA with edge capabilities. In Africa, we have a huge demand in terms of fixed wireless access, and we are using massive MIMO both on TDD LTE to be 5G ready on 5G NR. As well, for our B2B customers, we are proposing a public-private hybrid approach on our networks with a magical formula, 5G plus IoT plus edge cloud with AI apps. And we are adding mission-critical, high reliability features. For all that need on our radio networks, we want them to evolve to be Open RAN compliant, cloud native with open frontal, moving our CSON tools to radio intelligent controller. We have as well quite a number of challenges on hardware with new nanometer technologies, with integration between antennas and RAN, with integration between access and backhaul. On the software side, we are moving all our vendors to common CI/CD tools. We are enhancing beamforming performance, and we are deploying many green features. By the way, I would like to thank Huawei team for the great contribution they have on our energy consumption. We have been able, on the last massive MIMO technologies, enhanced by new features, to decrease by 15 to 25% the consumption on 5G in different 5G loads. Of course, our journey will continue. We have been able in the past to deploy 5G in Europe, commercially in 6 countries. We are preparing the introduction now in Africa. And in the meantime, we have been able to roll out 5G on different B2B premises, on a stadium, on a railway, in a harbor, in a factory, in a hospital. And we are preparing now the 5G essay with a new core. This introduction will start for our B2B customer and then on our public networks. We have already been able to tackle different challenges for the launch in Europe. First one is about the frequency on the 3.4, 3.8. We have been able to secure sufficient 5G spectrum in many countries, even to get a bit more of spectrum, giving us a competitive advantage in the next decade. As well, we have selected different network providers for that, improving our cost structure and making sure we are compliant from different cybersecurity rules. On acceptability, we are pushing digital inclusion, as well EMF and energy consumption improvement. For our consumer, we want to offer a very large set of smartphones and as well many 5G services, giving value to this new 5G access. On our B2B and wholesale customers, we are offering a unique approach, being an operator as Orange and an integrator as Orange Business Services. We can combine private networks with public networks. We have many benefits from 5G. First, of course, we need to respond to the global traffic increase that is around 40 to 50% today on our mobile networks. And adding 5G to the existing 4G sites has enabled us not to add any new sites on our grid. We have as well the economic performance, where we have decreased the cost per gigaoctet. And we have the energy performance, where you have seen in the video, we have a clear objective to have 5G in 2025 consuming 10 times less than 4G in 2019. We are developing as well new usage for our customers on the enterprise side and on the consumer side. And we are accelerating the digitalization through the sanitary COVID crisis we had. That's why we have an ambitious 5G lab program, because 72% of our customers and companies say that they expect the network service provider to provide 5G support. So we have opened a dozen of them to successfully demonstrate to them the full potential of 5G, to stimulate them and in terms of innovation to create new usage, and as well to anticipate this new technology to be able to include it inside their own product and services. All that you can discover it on 5glab.orange.com. So 5G for us, it's a real multi-service network. You have a car service, a robot service, a smartphone service, a maintenance service, and a stadium experience. Why? Because of premium partner for the Olympic Games 2024, you will discover a great 5G in Paris. Thanks a lot, and have a fruitful mobile broadband forum in Dubai.
Thanks, Arnaud. Yeah, I'm glad that Arnaud also mentioned on the slides that they're going to launch 4G in some markets. So I just wanted to comment that although we are all talking about 5G, but that will not and should not take the credit out of 4G. You know, 4G in the last 10 years or so has been doing great for everyone in the industry, creating businesses, revenue, eradicating poverty, as Matt mentioned, did great. And in Huawei, when we put together our innovation, of course, all of our innovations are 5G oriented, but still it provides a lot of value, a lot of benefits to 4G as well. A lot of heavy lifting that's happening in the next few years are going to still carried on LTE network, which is, as I said, providing a lot. And investment in LTE lowers the investment in 5G in the future. So that's the comment. So let's switch the gear to go to Philippines and hear from their senior technical advisor of Globe Telecom in Philippines how they can cope with the extra demand, the demand that is always increasing for traffic, how they cope with it, how do they build their network. So please welcome to the stage via video, Ashish Pilani.
Hello everyone, hope you are well. It's my pleasure today to be presenting here about our 5G journey at the Mobile Broadband Forum event. My name is Ashish Pilani and I'm representing Globe Telecom, the #1 mobile operator in the Philippines. Today I'm going to talk about more details to explain you how we went on our journey for 5G and how we were rapidly able to grow our 5G coverage from a very small percentage to more than 90% in less than 2 years. Before I do that, let me talk you through who is Globe Telecom. Globe Telecom is the #1 mobile operator in the Philippines. Today we have close to 82 million customers and we are growing at a very fast rate. We were able to add 5 million customers in just one quarter of 2021. Our market share is close to 52% in a 3-player market, and we added 1% market share in the last quarter of 2021. We were the first ones to launch 5G services in the Philippines in 2019. And from that time to now, we are actually at 94% coverage in our key capital cities in Metro Manila, or what we call as the National Capital Region, Cebu, Davao, and for those of you who love the tourist destination of Boracay. With the pandemic, our network has seen a massive increase in traffic. We grew around 20% in the first 6 months of this year, from 700 odd petabytes to 900 plus petabytes in a record time. A bulk of our users are coming from the fixed wireless access, and we added almost 330,000 users in that 6-month period as well. We grew from almost 3 million customers to close to 3.4 million customers in that 6-month period. So let me talk more details about our 5G journey. In 2019, we started 5G as the first operator not just in the Philippines, but in entire Southeast Asia. We offered our 5G services for fixed wireless users, and we used the 3.5 gigahertz spectrum to offer that services. It was a very small footprint with typically 5% coverage, and we had a relatively small number of users at the start. Come 2020, we saw that the devices were becoming mainstream in 5G. The main brands like Apple, iPhone, Samsung, Oppo, Vivo, which are the popular brands in the Philippines, were launching their products with 5G. And in 2020, the pandemic also hit us. So we thought it's a great time to kind of increase our footprint and reach to provide the faster internet services to the Filipinos. We were able to grow from 5% in 2019 to 80% of network coverage in a very rapid succession of time. We did this by deploying not just 3.5 gigahertz spectrum, but also the 2.6 gigahertz to grow quickly to such a percentage. And where we are today, we're at 94% coverage, and we are continuing to grow our footprint on a daily basis. We're using today 60 megahertz on 3.5 gigahertz and 40 megahertz on 2.6 gigahertz, which was made available from refarming of 2.6 gigahertz from 4G to 5G. A little bit more on that in the next slide. So how did we go on this journey? We had close to 90% of our sites deployed with 2.6 gigahertz of spectrum to cover 4G services. We saw this as a great opportunity for us to leverage our partnership and deploy using the same hardware which was being used for 4G services to launch not just 4G but 5G or NR services in our capital cities. This gave us the momentum and allowed us to scale very, very quickly on our existing network through a software upgrade only. Our 2.6 gigahertz spectrum was heavily utilized in 4G, with utilization reaching up to 60% plus of PRB. Massive MIMO was in use, and we continued to expand the use of Massive MIMO. That enabled us to add 3 to 5 times more capacity on the 4G layer. In addition, it provided us more in-depth coverage or indoor coverage with the Massive MIMO product. And collectively, with 4G and 5G services using the same hardware platform of Massive MIMO, we were able to expand the capacity, not just coverage, at a very quick succession. This enabled us to provide the right services to our customers, as that was the need of the hour. The next step was, if we just purely looked at the 3.5 gigahertz, we would have to add a new antenna pretty much on every single site of ours. And space was a big limitation for us. In addition, Philippines is in a very high-rated wind zone, with the towers needing to support winds up to 340 kilometers an hour. There are more typhoons in Philippines than any other place of the world. As such, it posed us even a bigger challenge. How do we do the tower retrofits in such a quick succession, as more than 30% of our sites needed tower strengthening? Again, we worked collaboratively and developed an innovative solution to use an integrated antenna which comprised of a blade AAU, or adaptive antenna unit, plus the passive antennas to support all our 4G services. So this one single antenna could take up to 12 ports or 16 ports of passive antennas on 4G and 2G services. In addition, it also had the active unit of AAU for 5G and 4G Massive MIMO in the same product. This allowed us to really use our space on the towers in a very effective manner, reduce the wind load of our existing towers as well, which allowed us more space to deploy future products, had minimal to no tower reinforcement needed, a very, very fast time to turn around in the market. We saved at least 3 months, if not more, to kind of launch these services quickly. And finally, it helped us reduce the cost of operation or cost of deployment by a big number as well. What was our third step? Our third step was actually to partner with the electric cooperatives. Now, I must tell you, Globe Telecom is also a fixed broadband provider in the Philippines. As part of the fixed broadband, we own a lot of street infrastructure in the forms of poles, which are utilized for our FTTH or GPON network. We partnered with the electrical companies as they had a lot more poles in the street level, and as 5G services on a high band spectrum needed you to be closer to the homes, it allowed us a much better opportunity to provide indoor coverage using 5G services as well. We were able to do bulk negotiations with the power companies, and were able to deploy a lot of the sites at a very fast rate, given the infrastructure was already there. We didn't have to build any new poles, we didn't have to create any new space, and we were able to fire up a lot of sites in our metropolitan areas using the street infrastructure from the power companies, and were able to reduce the TCO and lower our rental significantly. In addition to all these cost savings, we were able to kind of make a very fast turnaround in terms of deployment in the market. And that gave us a very good reach. And all these things collectively allowed us to take our service from 5% to more than 90% in a very short succession of time. And we're not stopping here. As 5G evolves, we are expected to get more spectrum, or we are expected to open up more spectrum services in the 5G layer. We'll continue to partner and innovate on the existing antenna technology, which will allow us much more tighter integration of not just 4G, but also different bands of 5G within the same product. Work on lowering the power consumption, because power is another challenge in the Philippines, as there is shortage of power, and as it grows on a per site basis, it requires us to quickly upgrade power and the transformers on all our sites. So a lower power consumption product is an absolute must for us. And finally, with all these spectrums and everything, we'll be able to launch a much wider bandwidth and in a much faster time and a much more reduced operating cost. I hope with this, I've been able to give you a good insight into our journey in 5G and how we've been able to track so quickly in terms of rapidly growing our footprint and services to our customers. In this pandemic times, we want to make sure we give the best services, best possible speeds to our customers, as that's what they need to do their daily operations on a regular basis. I want to thank you very much for a patient listening, and I hope you have a good day.
Thank you so much. Globe Telecom, a lot of traffic, new innovations and solutions. So we are down now to the last keynote of MBB Forum. And as a matter of fact, this is the keynote that we all wait for also to release and to learn more innovations about what's coming up in the rest of 2021 going forward in 2022. So even internally in Huawei, we wait for that presentation specifically to precisely understand Huawei innovations and releases when it comes to the radio base stations and beyond, and how it will solve the world problems. So from that regard, I wanted to introduce the man that drives Huawei wireless innovations and wireless R&D. Let me introduce to you the president of Huawei Wireless Solutions. Please welcome Huawei's Yan Chaobin.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome again to the 12th Global Mobile Broadband Forum. It is always my pleasure to meet old friends and new friends in the Mobile Broadband Forum. This summer, we just finished the Summer Olympic Games in Tokyo. We know that there is no audience in the field because of this pandemic. But the interesting thing is that because everyone needs to watch the game remotely. But if we compare it with the Summer Olympic Games in year 2012 in London, the TV rate have been dropped from 9.4% to 4.7%. It have been dropped by 50%. So, but the people use the mobile device to watch the Olympic Games have been increased by 5 times. So, which means that in the past 10 years, with the deployment rollout of the 4G and 5G network, it has been greatly changed the way the people's behavior, the way of the people's to entertainment. Furthermore, for the fixed wireless access, normally the fixed wireless access was carried by the wireline. But in the past 5 years, the fixed wireless access, the yearly growth rate has been dramatically growth. Especially in the past 2 years, when 5G started to roll out globally. The year-by-year growth rate of the fixed wireless access has already reached by 58%. So that's why we expect that by year 2030, we believe that more than 50% of the traffic that is generated in the internet will be carried by the mobile network. Today, the portion is 25%. 10 years ago, the number is less than 1%. So in this way, we do believe that by year 2020, the DOU of the mobile subscribe will reach 600 gigabytes. So besides fix the home broadband market and the consumer market, with the introduction of the 5G, today, the 5G has been widely used in 20 industries with more than 10,000 cases. And it has been greatly accelerated the digitalization of other industries. But anyway, we also found that for 5G, if we wanted to meet more requirements, if we wanted to adapt more scenarios, if we wanted 5G to be widely used in all of the other industries, we still need to keep innovation. We still need to introduce new network capabilities in 5G. So that's why last year, Huawei suggested that we should start to define 5.5G. And fortunately, I think in this year, in the first half of this year, the industry has already reached a consensus. We will jointly define 5G Advanced. Yeah, the name is not 5.5G, it is 5G Advanced. So in the 5G Advanced, so lots of the new features, lots of the new capabilities will be introduced. In this way, it can enable more application scenarios. So what will be the target network for the 5G? Because we believe that in the next 10 years, it will be the era for 5G. Today, when we talk about 5G, there are different network capabilities: high speed, low latency, high reliability, location capabilities, high speed uplink. So, but we believe that not all of this capability is a requirement for the whole network. But the high speed will be definitely the nationwide, the whole network requirement. So in the next 10 years, we believe that for the 5G network, the high-speed network, it will go from hotspot to the continuous coverage to the nationwide. In this way, everyone can enjoy the gigabps anywhere, anytime. But for the business market, we think that such kind of network capabilities, it will not be the nationwide requirement. It will only happen in regional, in local areas. For example, 1 millisecond latency. It's impossible for operator to deploy the network anywhere for everyone can enjoy 1 millisecond latency. It is only valid in indoor environment in a quite small area. Otherwise, it will be so costly. So the rollout of 5G is totally different from that of 2G, 3G, and 4G. On 2G, 3G, and 4G, normally, for most of the operators, they stick to either FDD or TDD. But in the rollout of 5G, most of the operators will have the legacy fragmented FDD flexible band. They will also get the wideband new TDD flexible band. So the rollout of the 5G network, it will be happened both in the TDD flexible band and FDD flexible band. So when we design the product solution, we must take into this account. But the characteristic of TDD and FDD flexible band is totally different. For the benefit for the TDD flexible band is that it has wide bandwidth. But the bottleneck is that it is in the higher flexible band, which means that the coverage will be quite limited. And the benefit for the FDD flexible band is that it is in the lower flexible band, but normally I think in each flexible band, operator only owns 10 megahertz or 20 megahertz. Yeah. So it's quite difficult for 10 megahertz or 20 megahertz to provide the GBPS user experience. So in this way, we think that we should have some innovation technologies to extend the coverage of the middle band TDD frequency band. And we also need some innovation in the FDD frequency band. Use the ultra-band technologies to binding different frequency band together with multiple antenna technologies to improve the capacity of the FDD frequency band. Because we believe that it's quite difficult for operators to afford to add lots of new sites. In the left side of the slide, you can see that in one site, anyway, the money operators pay for the equipment is less than 20%. The majority of the money they spend on the site lease, they spend on the energy fee, and some other things. So it has been proved that massive MIMO is a way to extend the coverage of the TDD frequency band. So for the 64, 200 megahertz bandwidth, such kind of product, it has already been widely deployed in the world. But with the time going, more spectrum will be released, which means that for one operator, it may have several segments in the middle band. So in next year, we will have the 400 megahertz 64 product. In this way, it can deal with the fragmented frequency band in the middle band. Then another one, for the blade AAU. Yeah, it is integrated with the massive MIMO product and the passive antenna. But normally, I think in different countries, in different regions, the regulator have dedicated requirement on the length of the antenna. Normally, as for example, for the 900, the length of the antenna will be 2 meters. But in some of the rural areas, operators use 2.6 meters antenna. In Switzerland, I think, for example, EMA in Sunlight, their requirement is that the regulators put a high requirement is that the length of the antenna shouldn't be longer than 1.5 meters. So in this way, we will provide a series of the blade AAU product to help operate to simplify the site. So what is the next for the AAU? Anyway, I think 5 years ago, when we started to design the commercial product of massive MIMO, we have discussed with lots of operators how to define the massive MIMO product. It should be 64, 32, 16. Number of antenna, it should be 64, 96, 128, or 129. Then finally, I think we reached the conclusion. We should maximize use the gain of the antenna. So for some of the operators, they have defined the enterprise standard. For massive MIMO product, the number of the antenna should be more than 192. Yeah, the typical case is China Mobile and Vodafone. Yeah, in their enterprise standard, yeah, they define such kind of things. Because if we reduce the number of the antenna, which means that you will lose the gain both in the uplink and the downlink. But should we stick to 192? Now, Huawei has some new innovation, and we have introduced some new technologies. We think that the extreme large antenna arrays needed to be introduced. So if we introduce the 384 antennas in the AU, so which means that for this product, the coverage can be improved by 3 dB, both in the downlink and in the uplink. And the user experience can also be improved by 30%. And the energy can be saved by 30%. Yeah. Maybe someone will ask, why not 5 years ago you don't design such a kind of product? Because there are lots of the technical challenges. Yeah, we spend a huge amount of the time to solve these problems. Someone maybe care for such a kind of product. How about the weight? It will be easy deployed in the tower. Don't worry. Even though we use this extreme large antenna array, the weight of the active antenna unit, it will be still less than 30 kilo. Yeah. So anyway, in this way, it's no problem to deploy anywhere in the world. Theoretically, I think it is quite clear. Yeah, if we improve the number of the antennas, we use the extreme large antenna array, it can significantly improve the coverage and the capacity. But anyway, it still needs support from the algorithm. So based upon Huawei's AHR turbo algorithm, it can further improve the coverage and the capacity. So Huawei has already started the proof of concept in 4 cities in China. In Hangzhou and in Chengdu, we have do the proof of concept with China Mobile. In Beijing, we have do the joint test with China Unicom. And in Xiamen, we do the proof of concept with China Telecom. So based upon our test result, we compare with 64 traditional active antenna unit with this meta AU. We can see that the user experience can be improved by 30%. The coverage can be extended by 3 dB. So if we compare meta AU with traditional 32T product, yeah, for this 32T product, it also supports 192 antenna unit. In this way, the user experience can be improved by 60%, and the coverage can be extended by 6 dB. 6 dB means that if you wanted to coverage one city, 6 dB means that you can reduce the number of the base stations by 50%. So in this way, it can greatly reduce the CapEx and OpEx for the operator. So because the gain of the antenna has been improved that. So for meta AU, the output power, if we set the output power 160 watt, it can reach the same coverage of traditional active antenna unit with 320 watt. So in this way, we have the meat to be, when we do the POC test, we have the meat on the site. So for 24 hours. So based upon the measurement that the power consumption can be reduced by 30%. So for FDD frequency band, we noticed that for the FDD frequency band, it is so fragmented. But when we designed 4G standard in year 2004 and 2005, at that time, 4G standard is optimized design for 2T2R, for MIMO. Yeah. But when we designed the 5G standard, we started in year 2015 and 2016. It is optimized design for multiple antenna technologies. So if we use multiple antenna technologies in the FDD frequency band, you can get more gain in 4G than that in 5G. But anyway, besides multiple antenna, because FDD frequency band is so fragmented, so we must introduce the ultra-band technologies. So for 44R, so we will introduce the triple band real wideband radio remote unit. And the output power, it will be reach 4 times 160 watt. Yeah. So it can meet all our requirements, all our scenarios in the world. Sometimes, when people talk about the triple band radio remote unit, we cannot look at the the number of blocks. Because only with the real wideband technologies, then the output power across different frequency bands can be shared with each other. So based upon Huawei's true wideband technologies, this triple band RU, the energy, it can save more than 30% of the energy. So how about the 8 theater? We have already started the commercial launch 8 theater in different countries. Yeah, more than 60 countries we have already deployed 8 theater. If we compare with 44, for LTE 8 theater, the gain of the capacity is about 1.6 times. But for 5G, the gain can be 3 times. Because the 5G standard is optimized design with the multiple antennas. And this year, we will also introduce new antenna platform. We call it Hertz platform. So it is optimized design for 8 theater. So this Hertz platform, together with the 8 theater RU, so it can provide archery user experience with the FDD frequency band. FDD massive MIMO. I think everyone will think about the FDD massive MIMO because for TDD massive MIMO, it has already been widely deployed in the world. But FDD massive MIMO, it will be more challenging than the TDD massive MIMO. We have already started the commercial launch the 32T FDD massive MIMO. And this is also the only FDD massive MIMO product available in the world that can be vastly deployed in the world. So if we introduce the FDD massive MIMO in the FDD frequency band, so for 4G, the capacity can be improved by 3 times. And for 5G, the capacity can be improved by 5 times. The most important one, I think in the mobile industry, we always have a dream. We wanted the coverage of 1800 and 2100 to reach the same coverage as 900. It is possible to use FDD massive MIMO to reach this target. Yeah. So this year, further, we will introduce blended AAU together with the FDD massive MIMO. So which means that for the operator, if you only have the FDD frequency band, if you wanted to deploy the FDD massive MIMO with one box, it can support all of the FDD frequency band. So in the right side of the slides, which is just to show one case, with the FDD massive MIMO and all of the passive antennas on other FDD frequency band together with the Meta AAU, it can provide the continuous coverage across the city. Because it is possible for FDD massive MIMO on 1.8 and 2.1 to reach the same coverage as 900. And it is possible, and it will be definitely for if you use Meta AAU, the coverage of 3.5 gigahertz, it will be better than today's 1.8 or 2.1 coverage. So based upon such kind of technologies, without adding lots of new sites, it is possible for operators to roll out the seamless gigabps 5G network. Anyway, I think site acquisition is always the most difficult one for all of the operators in the world. So when we have deployed the micro base station, in some of the areas, we still need some very simplified product. It can be easily deployed the lamp pole along the street, or in the building, in the wall of the building, in the residential areas. But what is the requirement for such kind of product? We think that such a kind of product should be simplified enough, and it should be one box solution. Yeah. It's impossible for operator to deploy several flexible band boxes in the residential areas. Yeah. So, which means that in these areas, we must have the product combined with TDD and FDD. Yeah. Because if you just deploy TDD 3.5 gigahertz in the residential areas, but the 5G smartphone penetration rate is not so high. You need to support the 4G at the same time. So that's why we introduced the Book-IO 3.0 and Easy Macro 3.0. For this two products, it is a combination of FDD and TDD. Yeah. And for the Book-IO, it can be used in the residential areas. And for the Easy Macro, it is also the combination of FDD and TDD. It can be easily to be installed in the lamp pole along the street. Then the baseband unit, you can reuse the baseband unit in the macro site nearby. So only one box will be in the site. Yeah. Maybe someone will ask, how about the street pole solution of massive MIMO? The answer is yes. If we cut the number of antennas of the active antenna unit, then the massive MIMO product can be greatly simplified. So this year you can see that if we only support TDD flexible band, for example, 3.5 gigahertz with 32T, 32R, then the output power is 240 watt. Then the weight is just 10 kilo. Anyway, I think this is the smallest, lightest massive MIMO product in the world. But what I wanted to mention is that because we cut the number of the antenna, which means that the coverage will be quite limited. Because 128, if we compare with 384, the number of the antenna have been reduced by 3 times. Then if we, from 64 to 32 TRX, the gain reduced another 3 dB. So if we compare with this Easy Blink with the Meta AU, the coverage loss will be 10 dB. But anyway, it can be used in some hotspot that you don't need the wide coverage. You don't need really high capacity. So how about indoor? In the indoor environment, we also believe that it should be the combination of different technologies, 2G, 3G, 4G, 5G. And it should also be the combination of different flexible band, FDD flexible band and TDD flexible band. Yeah. Because in the indoor environment, yeah, it is integrated all of the technologies and different flexible band, but the antenna gain can be really low because it is only deployed in the indoor environment. So the size for this lamp side Pico IO is only 2 little. Weight is just 2 kilo. Yeah. But anyway, it is possible to introduce massive MIMO technologies in such kind of small box. Because for one box, it's impossible to do massive MIMO. But anyway, normally in the building, you will deploy a huge number of such a kind of small box. So this year, we will introduce the distributed massive MIMO technologies. We have already finished the proof of concept in China and in South Korea. And the result is quite impressive. The capacity can be improved by 4 times because of this distributed massive MIMO technologies. user experience, single user experience can be improved by 30%. Yeah, here I just wanted to share you with one case about the campus network to the business market. Normally, I think in the factory or in the campus of the enterprise, it will not allow you to deploy really big macro base station. And they also don't need really wide coverage. So here, if we use Huawei's Easy Macro Plus indoor peak I/O, Easy Macro can be used to cover the campus, the outdoor. LAMP side can be used to cover the indoor. But the baseband unit of LAMP site and the outdoor campus, they share the same LAMP site. Anyway, I think both of these two solutions will support super uplink technologies. Yeah. It also supports the supplemental uplink technologies. We have to joint test together with China Mobile. The speed of the uplink uses their dedicated frequency band. It can reach more than 1 Gbps in the uplink. Then, based upon such a kind of architecture, it is possible to provide very high-speed uplink speed. And it can also provide 5G indoor position technologies. And it can also provide very high reliability and under controlled latency. So anyway, I think in the next 10 years, for the mobile network, multi-band, multi-technologies will coexist for quite a long time. So 2G, 3G will phase out step by step. But anyway, they still will exist in the network for quite a long time. So all of the operators will take into account the macro cell, the pole cell, the indoor cell solutions. So how to coordinate different layers of the network? And we also needed to fulfill to the business market and to the consumer market and also to the home broadband market. Then we also need to balance between the power consumption and the energy efficiency. So in this way, we must introduce the intelligence in the radio access network. So this year, we will introduce PowerStar 2.0. Yeah, you know that last year, we already have PowerStar 1.0. And we will also introduce capacity tuber. And for the fixed wireless access, we will introduce WTTX suite. And for the 2B scenario, we will introduce 5G 2B suite. So for PowerStar, the difference between the 1.0 and 2.0 is that we have made a big improvement. For the 1.0, normally it is focused on to reduce the power consumption in the leisure time. But in the 2.0, we found that if we introduce some intelligence, some innovative algorithm, it is also possible to reduce the power consumption in the busy hours. But anyway, for the power consumption, if we want to reach such a kind of target, the precondition is that the hardware need to have the capabilities. But the most challenging one is still for the controller. We need to know when, where, how to shut down some kind of components or some kind of channels. And we need to make a balance between the user experience, network KPI, and the power consumption. So this is a proof of trial we have done together with China Mobile. They have 4 frequency bands, 900, 1800, 1.9 TDD-LTE, and 2 2.6 for 5G. So if we, in this, from the result, we can see that if we keep the KPI, the user experience stable, so it is possible to reduce the power consumption by 25%. For the capacity boost, yeah, thanks for our customer in Germany. Yeah, we have jointly do the traffic steering across different frequency band and different technologies. So which cover the 800, 900, 1.800, 2.100, and 2.6 and 3.5 gigahertz. In totally a complicated 6-band network. And it also cover from 2G to 5G. Yeah. So with the intelligence introduced in the capacity turbo, we can see that based upon such kind of technologies, the user experience can be improved by 30%. Yeah, just now we mentioned that the growth rate of FWA is much, much fast than the wireline. But the more benefit, one of the benefit for the fixed wireless access is that the time to market of fixed wireless access is much faster than that of the fiber. So in this way, we introduced the WTTX suite. Based upon this product, operator can know where I can provide the service to the customer and which kind of service quality I can guarantee. I can give commitment to the customer. So in this way, it will help operate to accelerate the time to market to your customer. Then at the same time, because for the fixed wireless access, normally we need guarantee a certain quality of the service. So it can manage based upon the resource available in the base station. It can manage the user experience dynamically to for 2B. Anyway, I think it is quite complicated for the 2B environment. Based upon the 5,000 use case in China, so Huawei have developed the 5-2B suite. So it can help the enterprise to do the network planning and to manage the quality of the service of the network. So based upon such a kind of technologies, we use the laser scan, and it can shorten the time of the network claim greatly. Normally, in one factory, if an operator wanted to do the network plan, it will take them more than 40 hours. But with this such kind of tools, the network plan time can be reduced less than 10 hours. So it can be finished in one day. Then at the same time, normally I think for the 2B market, the customer will have quite a high requirement for the troubleshooting, because in case there is an accident, they cannot wait for quite a long time. So based upon this tool, it can automatically for the fault management and troubleshooting. So in this year, in the 5G area, we will release a series of the new product, which include the macro site and the pole site, and also the product in the indoor environment. Anyway, I think 5G will evolve to 5.5G. Yeah, we know that when we defined the vision of 5G in year 2010, we have defined as a triangle. But in 5.5G, lots of the new network capabilities will be introduced. So such as UCBC, yeah, super uplink technologies will be introduced. In this way, it can fulfill lots of the requirements from the 2B market. And we also believe that real-time and broadband, they should be combined together. Normally, I think for the most of the service, especially to the consumer market, if they need a low latency, they will definitely need the high speed. So they need to combine with each other. Then another one, we call it harmonized communication and sensor. So different kind of IoT technologies, for example, passive IoT technologies, and sensor and position, they will be introduced also in the capabilities of the 5G network. But anyway, in the 5G area, the massive MIMO technologies, ultra-wideband, simplified architecture, green, intelligent, it is always the topic and the direction we should work on. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you so much. If I may ask you and Chauvin to stay on the stage because we wanted to commemorate this moment. That was the last keynote of the day. So if you can all come to the stage and let's take a photo together. This is the tradition of Huawei after we finish our event. So everybody come here. I was told that the stage is very strong. So we can all, let's commemorate this moment. It's the first post-pandemic MBBF. So everybody come here. Huawei also. Huawei, everybody. Yeah, we can leave that here empty and maybe, oops, sorry.
Not everybody can.
Hey, dude. Yeah. Oh, the mask. I am the only one who is allowed without mask. مفيش mask. بناخد PCR test every day. كل يوم.
Please, can you come to the steps, please? Only 2 rows of people on the stage. Can you join us? Can you please go on the steps, please? Please, and the ground. So we can have here 3 rows. Please, can you come to the steps, please? To the steps, yes. This side as well. Here only 2 rows, please. We are covering the logo. If you can please just move on the left, yes. We want to have the logo displayed beautifully. A little bit more to the left, please, please. Just a little bit more to the left, can you? Thank you. So we have the beautiful, clear logo. Can we just go a little bit so we have a year here in the... Thank you. Just a little bit more to your left. Thank you. Lovely. Thank you, everyone. Is it okay like that?
Why they're still having me on microphone?
So you want to say something?
Yeah, we're going to say cheese whenever they tell us. خلاص يلا 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 we have been All right.
Hello, hello, do you hear me? Oh,
All right. Thank you so much. Shukran, everyone. And we'll see you next year.